All right, guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks so much. I'm just going to go through a couple of quick housekeeping things, and then we'll get right with Aaron from Neo Masterpiece Films. So, thanks so much for joining. We'll be speaking to Aaron and his kind of perspective on this new project called Neo Masterpiece Films. If you can, I would love it if you guys would like hit that like button and obviously subscribe to help support him and myself. And if you can do that first thing, it just helps that algorithm go, as you guys all know. And before we get started, it just gives them that attention and gets that algorithm. So if you'd also like to let me know in the comments your favorite cult film we'll go with to start with, because I think that's always a neat one to see some people's reactions to that. One of mine is definitely Clockwork Orange, and I'll ask you yours there in a second. And then obviously Blade Runner is always a big one that I love from back in the day. As always, none of this is financial advice, but if you do have anything here that tickles your curiosity, do take a moment to head into the Discord, which I'll post later, and let them know how excited you are about the idea and try and get some more information and use this kind of as your stepping stone to your research that you're going to do into this project on the blockchain. Aaron, anything you'd like to add to the housekeeping notes?
Join the Neo Films Discord.
Yes, and I kind of said that, but we'll post that in there right now too, so that if anybody wants to hop on over, if they're not on their phone. Tron, nice one. And so yeah, we'll do that. And other than that, Aaron, I guess if you want to start just letting us know about you, and then we'll go into the project as well in a minute.
Yeah, so my name's Aaron Markham. I am about 18 years in the industry, making films mostly in the indie film circuit. I've done everything from be an extra to be a DP, director, producer for films. And I have, recently I started a family and I moved back here to St. Louis, Missouri, where I do a lot more corporate work, commercials, those type of things. And then, when Hollywood calls, I fly out to LA or Atlanta or Chicago and do work there. But now I'm based out of St. Louis, and it's much easier to make a life in St. Louis than it was in LA. So it just made a lot more sense to bring the family back here.
Nice. And I guess before we get into Neo Masterpiece films directly, do you have a favorite cult classic?
My favorite cult classic, it's a newer one, Donnie Darko.
Oh, nice. That's a great one too. Yeah, awesome. All right, so we'll share the website there, and then if you maybe want to tell us a little bit about Neo Masterpiece.
So, Neo Masterpiece Films is my attempt at bridging the film industry and Web3. And as we've come to coin it, Film 3, we're using NFT technology and the blockchain to essentially subvert the gates that have been built around the industry to keep the average person out, and to really allow people in and to partake in the creative process as well as the revenue that is available for you know films in the film industry, because a lot of times, even for creators, all of the money that is comes from creating films usually goes to the production house,
Yeah.
and everything, you get 50 cents or 5 cents on the dollar essentially for something that you create. So we're trying to change that using this new technology and shift a industry that has been gated and very just backwards for I guess almost 100 years now.
Yeah.
And I really do think that this is the next evolution for the film industry. Just how Redbox defeated the classic, uh, is Redbox defeated Blockbuster, and then Netflix and streaming defeated Redbox. I believe that Web3, Film 3 will be the next iteration of this medium.
Awesome. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I do like that kind of idea. And this is what kind of attracted me to this and why I'm happy to have you here. As I said, we'll obviously go with some questions from the audience if they come up. But I guess to start with, obviously, the base of this, the start of this project is obviously fundraising, I guess, if you will. And that's being done through NFTs. And I think I've seen some with some of these guys. I guess, if you did you want to start with those ones? I think I've seen them on OpenSea. Is
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. So we have two different NFTs that we offer in our ecosystem. A good way that I've always said is that Neo is like a mullet. It's business in the front and party in the back.
Nice.
Our business is the founder NFTs, the fractionalized ownership of the company, and our that's the founder NFT right there. And our party in the back are those Neo NFTs, which is the PFP guy that you saw up a little bit higher. Yeah. So the we'll start with the founder NFT first. I find that it's best to work that way. The founder NFT
Sure.
is fractionalized ownership of our production company. Essentially, by holding that NFT, you are entitled to revenue from the films. You are entitled to voting rights within the company on decisions for the company, kind of higher level decisions above just the filmmaking choices that we have available. And it's for the life of the company. As long as we are making movies and you hold the NFT, you will be entitled to the revenue that we produce from our films and projects. Um, if you want, you can
Yeah.
scroll down a little bit. There's three tiers for these founder NFTs, and the top tier is the Diamond Pass. That is $35,000, and that essentially makes you an executive producer. For any films that we create, you will get a executive producer credit on those films, and you will also collect the largest majority of the revenue from the films that we create. The way that we decided to do it is we take essentially a 20% piece of the pie from everything that we make, and then that 20% is then divvied up to our founders in percentages.
Yeah.
So the tier one, the Diamond Pass, would get 48% of that 20%.
Nice. And then lots of other little, neat little bonuses, I guess, if you will, for especially fans of filmmaking, it
Yes.
looks like, which is awesome. So great. And then I guess tier two holds, I guess, a little less
You get
opportunities, but
you get less of the you get less revenue, and instead of being an executive producer, you are a producer. You still get a lot of the fun perks that
nice.
come with being a, especially like you said, if you are a film nerd or you just really into film. I wanted this to be as much fun as it is business investment. I know a lot of people always dreamed of being in the film industry, especially as kids. I think
Right.
everybody growing up dreams of being in the movies. And then you just grow up and you find out that, well, that's like a really difficult thing to do is be in the film industry. So I'm
The
going
barrier
to
to entries are pretty large. Yeah.
like I said, it is incredibly gated. And they did that on purpose. They wanted it to be, an elitist type of thing where only, the richest of the rich can own a production company, and if you want to be a producer, you have to be an accredited investor, which automatically makes it where you have to be close to a millionaire to even
Mhm.
be a producer in film. So that they wanted to keep the average person out, and they made those moves close to when the film industry started.
Yeah.
And it's only gotten worse over time because you hear people moving out to LA and with dreams of being an actor. And then they came back 10 years later, like, so how'd you do? Well, I was a background in a couple movies and I waited tables for a
Yeah.
really long time, but I never got anywhere. And what other industry is there where it's so gated that you can't even make a living doing what you went to school for, what you trained for, um, and actually survive doing what you set out to do. There isn't really any other industry that's kind of built like that,
No.
and it's not fair. And that's what we're trying to change with it, with what we're doing with Neo.
Yeah, and that's definitely something I've seen and why I'm so excited about this kind of the genre because it's a corporate industry now, and even the videos that we get to see are gated as well, and the variety of films we get to see with even a variety of actors because they're so hell bent on making sure that the film succeeds that they only abide by their recipe book, which definitely stifles the artwork or the variety to the artwork.
Right. It's two classes.
Yeah.
It's the corporate, or not corporate, but I would say the studio films. So you get fed Marvel, 5 movies a year.
Yeah.
You get Fast and the Furious. You get Harry Potter. You get Sonic. You get a lot of IP films, and that's where all their money goes. They'll throw $50 million at a Sonic film instead of throwing $5 million at 10 indie films that would actually be better films,
Yeah.
and that's where it's broken. And then you get the indie films, which is the other side of the school. And we have no budget for our films, so we are forced to make great stories, because in the end, that's what a good movie is anyways.
Yeah.
But they'll make amazing movies, but nobody will ever see them because they don't have the budget necessary to get it out to the public. They can't
Exactly.
afford to put it in theatrical release and see it in 1,500 theaters, because they just don't have the money. And
Yeah.
that's where the divide is, the great divide between artistic filmmaking and production house filmmaking.
Exactly. And then over time, hopefully something like this can disrupt that in a lot bigger way because you can get the money, hopefully. I mean, right now I'm assuming it's got to be a little bit of a harder race for you right now and a little bit of a slower grind in a bear market. But if we can proof of concept here, the bear market or the bull market could give us quite the opportunity, or you guys quite the opportunity to really break through that barrier.
That's my goal, and
Yeah.
I mean, the bull market has been initiated in crypto for much smaller catalysts.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I picture, well, what would the bull market be like if a Web3 film becomes commercially successful? Like, that would initiate its own bull run. If a
Mhm.
bull run can be initiated by an Elon Musk tweet, or by Facebook changing its name to Meta, this is something that could have a real catalyst. And the entertainment industry is in a unique position to create, uh, acceptance outside of just the crypto Web3 space.
Yeah, exactly.
It gives this little sector a real chance at getting, acceptance by someone who, you know, doesn't know what an NFT is, or doesn't know how to trade crypto. Like, um, real global acceptance is going to come when people don't really know that they're using the blockchain or Web3. Uh, So when grandma is making a transaction on the blockchain, that's when, and is able to do that without feeling scared. That's when real acceptance will
Yeah,
come.
absolutely. Absolutely. So I guess we did kind of digress there in an awesome way, and I appreciate that. I
Sorry,
guess we'll
I
just
do that.
quickly touch. That's okay, and we'll quickly touch on the gold pass there, just for those that. I mean, obviously there is a point of entry for these as well. Like anything, there's got to be some levels, and so for those who can't quite jump in with 5,000 or 35,000, here's an option for them too to still get into the game. I guess, right?
Right, and that was the point. And
Mhm.
even, that's also another reason why I created the Neo NFT. Is like, I made different levels so that, that regardless of how much income revenue you have, you are able to join what I'm doing in one way or another,
Nice.
and benefit from what we're creating.
And so a little smaller piece here, and then I guess instead of being executor or producer, you're sponsor, but you still get credit, which is cool too.
Right.
And that credit, I guess, that goes on obviously on the actual credits. Is that what we're looking at, or
Yeah,
is
so
yeah,
it'll be on the credit scroll, and it will also be, if you choose.
yeah,
To put you on IMDb, you have to be doxxed. I can't put you on as Pocket Aces on IMDb. I have to put your real name. So if you want to have like an actual IMDb account and be credited for the film, we can do that, but you would have to dox to us
okay,
first.
cool. Which makes sense, I guess, because it is again, they got to have their own gate still.
Right.
So I do have a question here, so we'll go off to the side here. So deliveries, MC Mr. C's deliveries says how much. Sorry, when will your first finished project be ready?
So before we even started the crypto Web3 side of the project, I made a really low budget feature film called The Burden of Guilt.
Oh,
Basically,
that's right.
that
Yeah.
was done to say, hey, we're real, to prove that, we can produce a commercially viable film for a pretty low budget. And that was done April of this year, and it should be done and ready to be released by January. And as of right now, we have a valuation from the agents that it will be 300,000. So that will be the first revenue that our holders will be able to collect is from a burden of guilt.
Okay, so even though we weren't part of this project potentially when that happened or when that got started, we're still going to benefit from the revenue from it as we add money. Because I guess there's still money that needs to be outlaid for this, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
cool.
So yeah, it's been valuated by Netflix for 300,000, but they're not going to write a check until they have a final product in hand.
Yeah,
And I did that on purpose because I know how Web3 crypto works. Like, win, win, win.
yeah.
Like
And proof of
nine,
concept. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
proof of
Yeah,
concept. 9 months is a really long time in this world, and I get that.
yeah.
So I wanted to have something out and ready to go, especially for my early investors, as a way of saying thank you for believing in what I'm trying to build. So that should be done in January, February timeframe, and that'll be the first revenue that we're able to present to our holders.
Nice. And I guess for the comfort of our viewers and anybody that looks at this, I think actually, sorry, I got to back up here. I guess it's good to have a quick peek down here on the website, which anybody can obviously go to when you guys want to do your research. But there's obviously some faces down here. This is not an anonymous project. Obviously, I'm sure a lot of people might know this guy right here. I definitely do, and do appreciate his involvement in this because he's always been kind of one of those, never a main guy, but always a good guy in everything he does. So.
Yeah, he was a cop for pretty much all of the 80s. Well,
Yeah,
early 90s
exactly.
too, if you count Family Matters.
Definitely typecasted. And what is his involvement out of curiosity, I guess, in this project?
So funny. The way that he got involved was Monica. If you scroll down a little bit further,
Nope, yep, thank you. Oh, yes, okay.
oh, Monica's not. Yeah, there she is. Monica does a film camp every year for kids, and he came out and helped out with the film camp for about 2 weeks. And we were telling him about Neo and what we were doing, and he was like, you know what, I love it. He's like, however, I can help. And I basically told him, I said, right now I just need people on my team. I
Yeah.
just need people that are, well
Faces of the
versed in the
industry.
industry, faces
Yeah,
of the industry, people that when if I were to come out as Aaron, like I said, even with when I tried to sell the groomer, like I'm working the industry, but nobody's gonna know me.
yeah,
Nobody's gonna know who Aaron Markham is unless you're in the industry and you've worked with me before. So I needed someone that people recognized, that people knew, and trusted. So Reggie was willing to be that face, and he'll help produce when we get to the point that we're actually making the movies. But right now, he is just helping us by adding some legitimacy and some
nice.
comfort to our investors by the fact that he is attached to the project.
Sweet. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And you got to kind of have that growth opportunity. So lots of people obviously here. And again, like I said, there's faces, unlike a lot of the projects we're dealing with in Web3. So that's fantastic and gives you definitely a good leg to stand on. So that's great to see. Mr. C's looks like he's going to be setting me up with all the questions. So I appreciate that. So he's asking how much interaction can holders have with the films. So that's kind of a neat one, actually.
The plan is really as much as the holders want to be a part of it. Because on the other end of this is if I were to give you an NFT and say, "Hey, I'm going to give you revenue from our films," that instantly would be in a gray area where it could be considered a security. So, as a way to keep it from being considered a security, a an investor has to somehow be actively a participant in the success of the company. So by making them essentially creative directors and having them where they can, decide what actors that we cast for our films, what locations, what uh, style choices for clothing, music scoring, all of those things are things that our holders will be able to decide on, but
Nice.
it
Yeah.
also makes sure that they are active participants in what we are building, and therefore a direct uh, have direct contact and direct what am I thinking of? Their choices will. help to
Effective.
decide, directly affect
Yeah.
the success of the company. Thank you, thank you.
Nice. No worries. No, that's awesome. I love to fill in the blanks when I can. Helps me show that I'm doing something. So, and then I guess how are NFTs going so far? Because I know the industry right now, or the not the industry, but the blockchain and crypto is as a whole is a little bit rough right now. But that said, there's always money there if they believe in it. So, how are things going so far for you guys in this environment?
So founder passes are slow and steady.
Yeah.
We get, a handful a week, probably anywhere between 2 and 10, depending on what week it is. And we attempted to do a, launch of the Neo passes last week, and it didn't do very well. And there
Okay.
was several factors for that beyond just from the actual climate that we're in. So we decided to pause the mint and build for a few more months. Let the climate improve, and really kind of focus on a very niche market. People who are directly, interested in being, part of the film industry or storytelling or what have you. And then we'll relaunch the Neo NFTs in the end of January.
Okay. So you're focusing more on the founder pass type ones, just because that's what builds your foundation, I guess. So that makes sense. Awesome. And with that, then I guess the involvement in the Discord. I mean, I did see. I think it unlocked a door, so you kind of have some Discord set up to help keep the community engaged. Would you want to talk a little bit about that?
Right now, we are doing a anime based around the Neo world, and that is built by the community. Right now, we are, in the world building process. All of our holders are, just spitballing ideas for what the world will be like, different aspects of what it's like for the people within the world of Neo. And starting Thursday, we'll do a voice chat with all of our writers, and kind of figure out where we're going to go, and then we'll start building the first episode. And then these episodes will be NFTs. They will be airdropped to everyone that is a holder as of right now, and that'll be it. That'll be the limited release, and that will be
Cool.
essentially like a thank you for everyone that is helping to build this story. But we're going to do 1 minute anime episodes that kind of build out this world of Neo, and each of those will be an NFT set.
Cool. Neat. Okay, so that's giving even the holders right now some added value while they wait for the revenue to come in.
Plus, it's
That's
just
like,
fun.
yeah, well, and well, exactly, but it's still nice that you're able to get add a little bit of something, a little nugget of bonus to them, because those NFTs, you never know what'll happen, right? I mean, if this is successful, those could, no, not financial advice, those could hold some type of value. There's always a chance. So for those DGen ones, putting that $500 in, not financial advice, could add some really neat value for them in long term, for something fun right now.
Yep.
I guess. Am I reading that right? Nice.
Yep.
Awesome. So, and I had some, I think, we've gone through the team, so thank you. Um, and I guess going on to investors a little bit now, because obviously, or members, I'm not sure how you like to talk about them in here, but with them, obviously, in this environment and to help with their, I mean, obviously, I see you guys are a company. There's obviously a lot of those strength things and doxed and all those things. Anything else that you'd like to tell that maybe goes around the strength of what you guys are creating and the comfort for the investor or the members?
We're an LLC.
Yeah.
You can, it's here in St. Louis, so you can actually look up, if you want to, and go on the Missouri Department of Revenue and look up Neo Masterpiece Films, and you see that we are an LLC company. Like I said, we're all doxed. I try and be as forward facing as possible, because with the what we're doing, there is no way to pay in crypto yet in the film industry. So the money that we do receive will end up having to go into fiat, and so I want to just be upfront and very um, I want everyone to see what I'm doing, to know that I'm a real person, that I really do am doing what I'm doing. Because again, coming from Web 2, it was a big difference going from like, and now you have to basically prove that you're an actual business, that you're an actual person, that you say who you are, and it wasn't like that in Web 2. But I learned that I understand why. It's just there's so many anonymous scams in this in this
Yep.
realm, and we have to fight against that. But it's a real strength, in my opinion, that we're able to just be completely transparent and be out there and let you, see what we're doing at all times. And I will always, you know, bring put forth everything that we're doing to our holders, as we're doing it, and never going to be doing anything shady or I won't do
Misleading or
anything without the not illegal. Of course,
yeah.
we're not going to do anything illegal. We're never going to do anything without the holders knowing what we're doing.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. No, and that's the thing, because I guess, yeah, you're gonna have to take, like you say, you're gonna have to take the money off chain, which obviously can bring heebie-jeebies to some people in this environment because there's so much of that happening. But again, doxed, all that kind of stuff. So it gives that strength to the project that yeah, you guys aren't running anywhere, which is awesome.
And you know
Um,
where I'm at. Like, you can my
yeah.
actual address is if you just go to St. Louis, Missouri Department of Revenue, you can find out my address. So
Yeah, you're not jumping in going, "I'm too scared to be doxxed because I don't my family." No, you are doxxed because
yeah,
you're not there to do anything to make somebody wanna come after your
right.
family. Like, this is just everybody knows this industry is just like DeFi, it's a very, volatile industry, but there also is a lot of opportunity. So, degens like us, this is a great, thing to possibly look at, to spread out your portfolio. And again, long-term growth, I guess, is pretty upside, I guess, to this, especially these founder passes, because you're looking at, yeah, okay, maybe I think I heard numbers somewhere of like possibly 10% off the first payout, maybe in 9 to 10 months or 9 to 12 months. But then that could snowball quite quickly if this grows into something much bigger, right?
Basically, you're risking. It's much less, in my eyes. It's much less risky than a lot of DeFi stuff out there, because your biggest risk is that the movie doesn't like that it flops.
Yeah,
Okay, so yeah, the movie flops, but you still own a piece of the company. If the first movie flops, doesn't mean we're going to stop making movies. That's what we've been doing for 20 years.
yeah,
So it just means that you're not going to get your 10x on our first movie, but you'll have to wait for the next one and see what that does. But it's much more like investing in a real company.
yeah,
You are benefiting from our success and what we're doing. And like you said, like, we were one of the first ones in the space doing this, so I don't even see it having to be a blockbuster. We just have to
yeah.
have a minimal success for something like this and be one of the first ones out the gate to do it in order to really give us that launch pad.
Nice. And I guess even thinking about that too is it's not like you're investing in one product with one goal, with one revenue source. Each movie is another revenue source. So it becomes, again, that chance of you hitting the 10x, 100x, or whatever is far more likely than just having one dart on the dartboard kind of thing.
Right.
So that's pretty neat too. Cool. Um, yeah, and some, yeah, it's just Mr. C there says, also movies that made some money, even if it was a flop, they still make something. So I guess, on that same note, then, what are the chances of a movie losing money in this kind of environment? Do you guys hedge that fairly easily, or?
What ends up happening a lot of times is it might flop theatrically.
Mhm.
So right off the bat, you might not make, your ROI theatrically. But after the theatrical release, there's a lot of other options that you have beyond that.
Mhm.
You have going to streaming. You have selling your release rights to other countries, dubbing it, and then possibly releasing it in
Alright.
Thailand or things like that. You have IP rights. You have, and even if those don't work, you can come into Web3 and
Yeah.
you can make your movie an NFT, or you can create it where there's like a metaverse theater, which is an idea that I had that I'm still building on. But as another
Oh,
way
yeah.
of like releasing your film, have theatrical releases in different metaverses. We can create a sandbox theater, and you can view the film using the sandbox token, and then that's just another way to bring revenue. So I don't see it as a flop. You might not, again, the likelihood of you not making your money back is very low. The
Yeah.
the risk is you not like again, like doubling your money or
Yeah.
tripling your money or things like that. You're just not going to get as much as you were hoping for from the release.
Gotcha. And not only that, I guess the other nice thing here is you've got a community behind you and of investors far more than the average project might have. And those are viewers and those are also marketers.
Yeah.
They can be so much to the project because they're invested. I mean, word of mouth marketing is there's nothing much better than that, really, when it comes down to it, and the
That's
spread
how
that that can have.
viral campaigns are built around.
Exactly, exactly, and that's what this can definitely be. So that's awesome. Okay, very good. Trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to get through. I had a few little notes for myself. Um, and I guess marketing wise, that was one thing actually too. Now that we stepped on that, is marketing wise, what kind of, and I really need, sorry, just want to go back on something you just said, that whole dubbing thing. I never even thought of that, but that's really cool too, because there's been movies that have flunked in one country and then you move it somewhere else and all of a sudden and it comes back as a cult classic. So that's pretty neat that you can get that exposure. And I can't imagine dubbing is that expensive. Am I wrong?
It's not the cheapest, but it's also not the most. It's not gonna like break the bank. It's gonna be probably, five to $10,000 for dubbing.
Yeah, which is a
Um,
small percentage of the whole thing, kind of thing.
right,
Yeah,
right. Because like you said, like think of like David Hasselhoff. Nobody, nobody,
it's who
nobody's
came to
really
mind.
gonna
To be
go.
honest with you,
Yeah, nobody's gonna go, "Oh, man, I gotta go see that film, it's David Hasselhoff here in America." But if you release it in Germany, he has a lot of star power in Germany, and you would never think of something like that.
yeah,
And it's the same thing, like, there are Swedish actors that are, like, top level in Sweden that none of us know about.
yeah,
So, you can take a film if you ever notice, Disney's been trying to do this a lot more, but they try and incorporate, Chinese actors into their films. And a reason for that is
for
because
marketing.
China is a huge chunk of money.
Yeah,
And China usually will not let you like have your films in China unless there are Chinese actors in those films. So it's a strategic move of Disney to incorporate Chinese actors into their films so that they can potentially release it in China because you have it's just the numbers game really.
yeah,
Releasing in
absolutely.
China is going to probably bring you way more money than it would in America.
Yeah, exactly. No, that makes a lot of sense, and that's awesome. Um, Sorry, just going back to the questions on the comments. Mr. C's my clutch right now. Can holders have priority in getting some work with the studio? So I think we've kind of talked on that. But I guess if you wanted to elaborate on that a little bit.
So one of the big things, again, I'm trying to break down the walls of Hollywood.
Mhm.
And part of that is people who are directors, actors, screenwriters, gaffers, people who are looking for work in the industry.
Yeah,
If you are a holder of our project, we even have a job board in the Discord where when we are looking to start a production, the first thing we're going to do if we need a DP is we're going to look at people in our community first and give you a leg up over anybody else because you are part of our project. And the same for actors. We're going to do the casting call within the community first before we ever take it outside and look at a casting call with, actors within the industry. With this anime that we're building, they're helping us write the anime. Once our animators get done with it, first thing I'm going to do is see if anybody wants to score the anime. Are there any voice actors in our community that want to do the voice acting for the anime? So the big part is to allow the community to be a part of those films and help make them and get work in the industry without having to break down all those gates and jump through
yeah,
all
yeah.
the hoops just to get work.
Nice. And actually, along those lines, 'cause I actually have a buddy who does voice acting and stuff like that. Are you guys able to take union actors and that kind of stuff? How does that affect you guys at all? Or are you able, like, do you have to only work with union ones, or do you have the ability to do both? Because I know there's some gates there too, is there not?
You can do both.
Okay.
It's up to the actor actually in order to do non-union and union work. There is a lot of people, a lot of actors did it during the pandemic. They set themselves as a certain status within that union that
Okay.
essentially says that they are able to do union work and union work, and that was the only way they were able to work during the pandemic because all the unions were shut down.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay.
they went back to their hometowns and they did theater work and they did commercial works in small towns and things like that. So that is up to the actual talent themselves, if they're willing to set up their status that they are not union only.
Okay. Cool. Like I thought they didn't have that, but that's awesome. That's good to know. Okay. Yeah. Anything else you wanted to get into? I don't like. I don't want to leave you too long. I do appreciate time. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on that we maybe didn't get into yet?
Um, I mean, we're The one thing that, I made sure that I'm constantly moving. I've been in DeFi long enough to know that there's plenty of people who say, "Yeah, man, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that," and that's how they get people in to invest. And then you never see any of that come into fruition. The last bull run, there was 100 game studios that were making games. Of course, you're making games, except that a game takes 5 years to produce.
Yeah.
So, this realm is kind of built on speculation, but I don't want my project to be speculative. I want to always prove that, hey, I'm doing what I told you I'm going to do. I'm not just blowing smoke. I am going to produce movies. We are going to do the anime, and I'm going to constantly move to make sure that those things are always at the forefront.
Yeah, exactly. Nice. Okay. And sorry, I did remember that Mr. C did ask this earlier, but product placement, I believe that's with the founders,
That is
the
the top level
the
founder, yeah.
top level. Yeah.
So yeah, say
Yeah.
say you are, the owner of a beer company and you're looking for a way to use advertising. Like there's no better way that just selling it out there, but
Yeah.
product placement in a film is going to have a much longer lasting impact than a billboard
Yeah.
because your beer in a scene of a film will be there in 30 years if you go back and watch that movie, but it won't be on that billboard. Product placement is something that we're offering for our diamond pass holders as an incentive for even big projects. If a project is looking for a revenue vehicle for their project, then the diamond pass would be good. And beyond the revenue, like say EMP money purchases one for their treasury. Now, they have the right to have one of our actors wear an EMP money T-shirt during a scene or
Mm.
things like that as a way to get product placement within our films.
Nice. Yeah, I have another AMA tomorrow with somebody that's in the bourbon, so
Urban the
that
blockchain.
yeah. So there, I'll have to mention that to them and see if they know about it already. But yeah, no, that'd be a great opportunity for them to get some product placement and stuff, and get some revenue for their project. So because they've got a lot of neat little ideas too. So and I must admit I do love these types of projects where there is utility coming. There is that. I mean, we've talked about it already, but the doxing, the fact that this is very unique. There is no project on the blockchain like this yet, and it's always nice to be first in with that kind of thing, especially through the all this Ponzinomics and all this other stuff. What I've done in some of my videos, I've definitely recommended people find projects that have that uniqueness to them, that gives you that potential, maybe not immediate bang for your buck, but gives you that long-term investment opportunity that can grow. Because we really have to diversify. I get that we're GGN, I get that we want to make that quick buck, but that's not going to make you the 100x as easily, especially not in this market. So while you're building and growing that money, this is a great opportunity to spread yourself out a little bit with some money that you're bringing in through earning or through whatever to get something real for the future.
I was gonna say like Ponzinomics, the DGen 100x's, that stuff is great in a bull market.
Yeah.
Like that's why it works in a bull market. But when you're in a bear market, it brings you back down to reality.
Yep.
In a bear market, the only things that are going to survive in a bear market are things that have actual revenue, that have actual utility, and it was a necessary thing to happen.
Yeah.
It's necessary. That's why you're starting to see the emergence of these projects that have real world utility and are actually have revenue outside of the blockchain because you can't just buy a PFP anymore.
Yeah.
That again, that's another. People are willing to throw money at that kind of stuff in a bull market, but in a bear market, it's back to reality.
Yeah.
So your NFTs have to have utility, or you're not gonna. It's not gonna survive this bear market. And
No, 100%.
I
Yeah.
chose a bear market for several reasons. One, it gives me time to build. It allows me to set up for the bull market. Two, it allows you as an investor to, if you purchase something in ETH, it automatically is going to be worth more money in the bull market because you're buying pretty close to the bottom.
Yep.
And it sets us up so that, say that our first film is going to be done in January. I don't see the bull market coming back by January, but I do see it being more like by the time the Groomer, our big one, comes out, the market will be in a much better place. And your NFT, just because we are releasing our film, we've proven concept, the project is out there in a better market.
Yep.
your investment is already going to be valued higher just because it's a bull market, but also because we did all the legwork while the market sucks.
Yep.
So builders build in the bear market, and that's why. If you're building in a bull market, you're just racing against the clock till the bull market ends, and then everyone's angry at you because you didn't finish in time.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have all this utility that you talked about that never came to fruition and all that jazz. So, no, this is I do appreciate that kind of thing, and this is fantastic for that. And it's still possible, and I'm still seeing it myself included, where you can 2x here and there. So if you can take $500 2x it, and not financial advice, but take that $500 and put it in something like this, these are ways that you can really build that up, and then you can still take that $500 and do your G-Gen stuff with it. So this is what I'm trying to tell people is this is the we can't just focus on the 2x's, because you'll do 10 2x's and several of them will fail, and now you're left with still the same amount of money you started with,
Mhm.
or potentially, right? So you got to really got to play the odds, and playing it smart and diversifying in different levels of risk investments is what's going to help someone succeed. And now's the time to do it. Like you say, I agree. You guys are timing this perfectly. And again, throwing that utility in there is huge. So I appreciate all that. Um, anything else? I don't see any other questions coming in. And yeah, anything else you want to add?
I can't, not off the top of my head.
No.
When I first got into this project, it really was just to make the groomer. The groomer was, like the main goal of this whole process. But since I've been in here, a lot of opportunities have arisen since then. We went from making one large, budget feature film to producing. We've had a company called Meta Marketing International reach out to us, and they want us to produce a documentary around Web3. And that will be going out to Barcelona in March, April to produce that.
Nice.
And we've had a film that Netflix reached out to us about producing, that is now, as I call it, Netflix purgatory, but it allowed us an access into Netflix for future projects that they might be looking at to get funding for. So, before we even produced the main goal for this, we already started to build things out. Oh, and production services. uh, I saw a big gaping hole here for other projects that, for their hype videos, their explainer videos, logo reveals, all that kind of stuff. They were going to, people on Fiverr and Upwork and hoping that they get a good project and then just waste their money. So I saw an opportunity to present ourselves as a viable source for like production for these projects that will that they can feel comfortable that we're going to produce a top quality video for them to use for their project. So that's another revenue source that we're building, and again, we're one of the first in the space to do that. So it's another opportunity for us to be at the forefront of that and create another quality revenue stream for our holders.
Nice, and what I'm hearing there actually, and that's huge, and I appreciate hearing that because I just had my own little AMA where I came out, and that's why I'm on camera now with James Pelton, and a lot of my thing that I'm doing right now is a lot of hustling. So it sounds like you guys are still hustling to find revenue sources to be a fighter in the market, in this market, to try and vow for your position and your raison d'être kind of thing,
Hmm.
and that's awesome. I appreciate that. That's great. Um, what are so we did get a couple of last second questions there. Not that I'm in a rush. If you're welcome to keep chatting, I'm happy
Yeah,
to.
I'm fine.
What are the utilities for non-founder NFTs in your product? So I guess these are talking about
The Neo
the
NFTs.
the new NFTs that you're getting into. We've kind of touched on it, but if we wanted to just to revisit that quickly, because those are coming out again, you kind of stopped that, I think, and those are coming out in the future, but those will
Yeah.
be project specific.
So those will be per film.
Yeah, again, I
So
should say film specific, not
yeah.
project, because this is a project
S
or a company.
so, like, the Neo NFTs will be fractionalized ownership of the film.
Yeah,
So, right now, they're profile pictures, and they're pretty cool profile pictures, I'm not gonna
I
lie.
agree.
I chose art that I would wanna collect, but when the film comes out, they will be a piece of the film. So, we'll take pieces of the movie and attach them to each NFT, and not just pieces from the actual theatrical release, as well as will include bloopers, deleted scenes, things like that. So that'll be the rarity of them. So if you get an NFT that's a blooper, the only way you'll ever see that blooper is through that NFT. So
Oh,
now it
cool.
creates a value for that NFT from that. But also, when it is screened now, if the part of your scene is shown, if they showed on Tubi or what have you, you're entitled to revenue from that.
Mhm.
So each of the Neo NFTs really receives 10% of the revenue from the film. Now it'll be a bigger portion in the end from that film versus the founder NFTs, but it's only from that film.
Gotcha. And actually, I guess with that, that actually makes me think of something because I do when I bought Blu-rays, and I still will continue to do so because I like having that physical one now and then. There's always those bloopers and kind of behind the scenes and all that kind of stuff, which I've kind of missed.
Those
Uh,
have disappeared. Yeah,
yeah,
they're
they've
not
kind of
really out
gone.
there anymore.
Disney has done a little bit of it, which I've seen recently with some of them, which is kind of cool. But this is your way of kind of bringing that back
Bringing
again,
it
which
back.
is
Yep.
pretty cool. That's awesome. Sweet.
Again, like I said,
Um,
I think this is the next iteration of the industry. I really do.
yeah,
I can really see it becoming, because as we all believe that if we're here now in the next 5 to 10 years, pretty much the rest of the world is going to come into Web3 one way or another. We're
yeah,
just waiting for it to be, adopted. The internet didn't really get fully adopted till Facebook came along
yeah.
and kind of pushed it that way. We're waiting for that not climax, but that
Walls to be
catalyst.
broken
That
down.
catalyst.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Because there's a lot of barriers right now, like, it's like, okay, you have to get a MetaMask wallet, you have to do this, you have to connect this, you have to add this. It's not user-friendly yet, so there's definitely going to be that catalyst, like you say, that's gonna bring that to, the mainstream, and where it's not gonna be, whatever small percentage in the market right now that it is, it's gonna be yeah, that's awesome, cool.
Yeah.
Um, go ahead.
But there's also other things that you get from the fan NFTs because, like I said, this is the part of the mullet. This is the fun part of
Yeah,
the project. By holding that NFT, you get a lot more like memorabilia airdrops. So you're going to get randomly dropped autograph NFT from our lead actor,
mhm,
which that in itself would be its own. It can be valued just from say just like an autograph now, if it's someone that an actor loves, they have an intrinsic value to them based on how much that person's willing to pay for an autograph. So you could get that, or you could get airdrops of art, concept art from the film and things like that. You'll get
mm,
raffles for access. So and these access will be NFTs as well. So there'll be raffles for all expense paid trip to the world premiere of the film, or your chance to be an extra in the film, and we'll fly you out and put you in the film. And those will also be NFTs that again has their own intrinsic value based on what someone's willing to pay for them. And then we're going to be doing live streams. So anytime we're doing location scouting, we're doing script readings, table reads, we're doing on set, like we're going to set up live streams
yeah,
so
neat.
that everyone can be there, a part of it. And like what I picture, say we're doing a scene and then we cut, and then the actors come over and like chat on the live stream with some of the
Nice.
holders. So it'll really create that incorporation of our holders and allowing them access into the industry, which is the whole point of this thing, is really just, I guess, we're subverting the gates. We're going under them. We're going over them. Just
Whatever
uh,
way.
whatever way we can,
Yeah,
and establishing ourselves now so that when Paramount and Fox and Blumhouse and all the big boys realize that, hey, we need to be in Web3, we've already kind of set a precedence for it, and they can't just come in and whale their way around and push us back into the way that it is now.
yeah, yeah, and it's stuff that we haven't again, even that's even cooler because it's stuff we haven't really seen yet. We've seen parts of it with behind the scenes things and stuff, but nothing live, nothing. I mean, obviously you can't show the whole movie, but it's neat that you could have that kind of involvement and that immersion into the movie process, which is really really cool. Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited. That's neat. Um, just seeing if there's a couple of last things there because I think a couple of people made a few more comments. Uh, I guess any possible partnerships that we're able to divulge. Is there anything like that going on?
Yeah, yeah. So we have a partnership with a company called Waifu TV.
Oh, that's
They're
right. I know
I would
them.
call
Yeah.
them the Crunchyroll of Web3. So the plan with them is to release like our NFTs as potential to be streamed on Waifu TV. and also, they'll probably make a channel for us to release our actual films and whatnot on there as well. And then I wouldn't call them partnerships. We have agents. So we have agents that are, work with Netflix, work with Hulu, work with Amazon, work with Apple TV, work with Tubi, so that whenever we do release these productions, we, it's always the top goal is to do theatrical release.
Yeah.
It's the riskiest, but also the reward is much higher, as is most things in life. But if we don't reach that theatrical release, we can always go, okay, well, how about we sell it to Netflix as an original? And that opportunity is always there. And as far as within the blockchain, we are connected with Alpha Mutants. Alpha
Okay.
Mutants is really been very pivotal in establishing us with others in the space that are working towards the same goal as us, working towards, merging the entertainment industry into the blockchain. They connected us with like Opus Labs. And we are, I can't say much about it yet, but we have a project that we're working on with Opus Labs. Once I get a little bit further on, I can release some more alpha about that.
Cool.
Um, but and then we have non-financial arcade that we're connecting with, and but yeah, Alpha Mutants has really just been pivotal in connecting us with a lot of the bigger players in the industry. We just partnered with Polygon Studios. Polygon Studios has been very pivotal in helping, Apple and Disney to dip their toes into Web3 in one way or another.
Okay.
And so we saw that as a really important partnership that I really wanted to have, and they were all about it. So very happy to have them on board as one of our partners.
Nice.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I definitely think it will continue to snowball as we keep going. And with success, more people will be coming to us for those partnerships.
Yeah.
So I,
Absolutely.
I think it's I think I'm being optimistic maybe, but I really think we're gonna be big.
Yeah, no, that's good, and, you have to be, right? Like, that's I'm a forever optimist about a lot of this stuff, and unfortunately, it diamond hands me probably too long in some projects that I get into, but you kinda have to be, otherwise, what's the point? That's
That's
where the
true.
joy comes out of this, right?
That's true.
So awesome. Did you, I guess Brian just had a couple things there, just founder passes, NFTs, is it too late to get in? We have talked about that a bit, but obviously, no, there's I guess now there is limits to some of these, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So they're not sold out.
No.
The Diamond Pass,
Oh,
there's
there we go,
25
25.
total.
Yeah,
The Platinum Pass, there's 125 total, and the Gold Pass, there's
1,000.
1,000.
Sorry, I didn't sort of read that properly, but there we are, so
So
they're all
we
there.
have 94, I believe, Gold Passes sold, 10 Platinum Passes sold, and 2 pending Diamonds for
Okay.
sale. And the way that I'm selling those is through direct sale.
Yeah,
So,
so you open up a ticket, I guess,
yep.
and yeah, okay.
Yeah, you open up a ticket and or hit us up on Twitter because the Twitter is run by me as well, and just do a direct sale that way because as a founder, this is definitely a long term hold,
Mhm.
and I don't want degens hopping in and like buying my founder pass because degens are gonna go back and say, well, hey, you haven't done anything in 1 month. What's going on?
Yeah,
Like in the real world, that's not how it works, buddy.
no.
So I want it to be direct sales so that like you can ask any questions if you have any doubts or concerns or anything like that. I'm going to answer all of them. I will, talk through what my plans are for the future. I want it because, if you buy a founder pass, you're stuck with me for a while. So I want
Yeah.
it to be a much more personal experience than going on the D app and pressing a button to become a founder.
You wanna be part of the community before you even before probably really, like, that's why I say, and I posted a couple times, but and I'll post it on the when I launch the video after this, but, definitely check out the Discord. That's probably your best step 1, and then from there, do any research you can, and like I said, if you're interested, get into one of these guys. I think obviously really low barrier to entry here. If you wanna just keep up to date on what you guys are doing and get involved, because this opens up some of the Discord, I think, for you.
Mhm.
Right? Yeah. So it gives you a little bit more involvement in seeing what the community is doing and how they're growing. I think you said, I guess, your next step kind of thing that people can see and visualize is going to be the anime stuff
Yeah,
that's
so
going
if
over the
you
way
if
through.
you if you buy a founder, you'll get to see, we've already done the world building, so you'll get to see what the world is going to look like. well, in text form. You'll get to see what the world will be, and the storylines we're going for with the anime, and you'll get to see kind of what the plans are, as well with the founders. And yeah, you're gonna have a much bigger say in where we're going as a company, by being a founder.
No, no, nice, awesome. And then, so yeah, so easy to get in, and then obviously stick around for when there's individual projects you love, and that's where those Neo NFTs will come in. I'm trying to think if there's something else I wanted to say, and it's escaping me now. I should have written it down. That was my bad. Um, and founders have a percentage. Sorry, just one last thing in here. So top line grass. Yeah, no, everything looks great, and I do appreciate all this input, and I think the community. I appreciate you guys coming on and watching this, and it will go live. So if you missed it and only came in a little bit in, then obviously go back and watch the rest, because I think there was some added value throughout all this. The ending, actually, I got really excited. There was lots of good chatter at the end, so I appreciate that.
I
Uh,
do see one which I actually think is really important. She
oh,
said,
good.
is founders have a percentage of gross. Is this truly top line gross? Is there room for the creative accounting that studios have always used to mess with payouts?
Oh, cool. Yeah, okay.
So that is one of the biggest things that I am trying to change with this, because it not only like all that creative accounting usually hits us first. So the guy who wrote the script or is the director, like I said, gets 50 cents out of $10 on sales. So that is one of the top line things that I am trying to change. And you have to kind of trust me. I get that that's a hard thing to do, especially in DeFi, but there has to be some
Yeah,
trust that I am doing this for the right reasons, and I'm not trying to, run away with your money. Um, and I totally understand that. I totally it's trust is the hardest thing to build in DeFi mainly.
100%. But being
Um,
visual like you are, and being on camera, and being genuine, like people can feel that stuff, right? And I think that's why I'm growing the way I'm growing, and hopefully why you will grow the way you grow, is that genuosity definitely comes through. So sorry, I kind of
I
interrupted you there.
so like there always is, like
Yeah.
anybody can screw you over. I mean that's just based on the person more than anything else.
Mhm.
But I'm trying to change that, and one of the goals is to bring it where all of this is able to be done on the chain,
Yeah.
so that films have to do show their budgets and their gross and everything on the chain,
Accountability.
so that it's all transparent.
Yeah.
But that is something that I have to work towards, and I'm definitely going to have to get more of the industry into Web3 before they're willing to, before I can pay people in crypto or receive revenue in crypto. So it's a future goal and something that we all should be working towards. Um, but yes, it is top line gross. It is
Yeah.
you get 20% as a founder. We get 20% as the team, 10% to the Neo NFTs, and the rest goes towards our next film. So
Yeah.
50% goes towards producing a film after the next one, to keep the machine running.
It's your
Uh,
compounding effect. It's
right.
yeah.
The goal is to never to get to a point where we don't have to rely on selling NFTs to,
Yeah.
produce a film, but we'll still offer the NFTs as a way for people to get those that access to it,
Yeah.
because that's the point. Um, but yeah, we want it to be really. We just need one film that is successful, and like I said, it doesn't have to be a blockbuster. It just has to be successful. We need
Yeah.
the fuel to start the engine, and that's what the community is. We're crowdsourcing, we're crowdfunding. It's the Web3 GoFundMe
Yeah.
of so we are just trying to get the
Nice.
liquidity to get the fuel for this engine, and then from there we're just going to use our expertise and do what we do best and make movies, and you get to benefit from that.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. I think we'll wrap it up here, because we are getting on that hour mark, which is always that special time and on crypto, or on YouTube land. But I really appreciate this. I appreciate you being the first AMA that I got to do. I think this was a fantastic project to kick off with, and I appreciate the time and and all everything you've given to us. I really look forward to seeing where this goes in the future. I think it's definitely got a brighter future than a lot of other projects in in this field, and it's nice that there's the uniqueness to it. There's the longevity potential to it, and obviously the long term, or opportunity for gains is still there, which is also quite neat. So it kind of hits at all these different spots, which I think is awesome. So thank you so much, Aaron, for joining us, and Neo Films. Again, I'll drop the Discord link in there one last time. Do check that out, and I think that's the best first step from here. And I really appreciate this.
Yeah, no, thanks so much for having me. And I really just appreciate the opportunity to discuss with you about Neo. And I'm always humbled by the reaction to what I'm building, because this was always just an idea at first,
Yeah.
and you never know how ideas are going to turn out.
You never know, but here we are, and it's step by step. I think it'll be a neat one to see unfold. So thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.